Our virtual tour begins at the 3 proposed intake sites in the North Delta. Intakes are the facilities that divert water from the Sacramento River into the Delta Conveyance system. We will describe the basic function and components of an intake, then show the proposed intake locations and what they would look like during and after construction. The primary function of an intake is to divert water from a river. An intake must have an apparatus for protecting fish and other aquatic species. The water that is diverted will initially contain sediment that will need to settle out before it leaves the intake. The intake must also control the amount of water outflow and facilitate the transition of water from the intake into the conveyance tunnel. This rendering highlights the key features of a typical intake. The intakes would include fish screens, which prevent aquatic species from being diverted with the river water. The buried box conduits and gates convey water from the fish screens to the sediment basins. The sediment basins allow suspended sediment to settle out of the water that is diverted into the system, and the sediment drying beds allow for the drying of that sediment. The tunnel shaft allows the water to flow down into the conveyance tunnel from the intake. The proposed project contains 3 options for intake locations. Depending on the alternative selected, the project will contain either 1, 2, or 3 intakes, and this virtual tour will take a closer look at the sites for intakes 3 and 5. Intake 3 would be located along State Route 160, just north of Hood. The current land use designation is agricultural cropland, and the site is currently a mixture of apple, pear, and cherry orchards and vineyards. It also has 2 residential structures and multiple storage structures. The construction area would be about 240 acres and is shown in yellow on the map. It would take about 8 years to construct, and once constructed, the permanent footprint would be about 120 acres. This map shows the proposed route for construction traffic. Intake 5 is located along State Route 160, just south of Hood and north of Cortland. The current land use designation is agricultural cropland. The site is currently a mixture of almond, pear, and cherry orchards, as well as row crops and vineyards. It also has 3 residential structures and several agricultural buildings. The construction area would be about 240 acres and is shown in yellow on the map. It would take about 8 years to construct, and once constructed, the permanent footprint would be about 110 acres. This map shows the proposed route for construction traffic.